Charles, who's a fan of my YouTube channel, brought his 110 down for me to do some repair. Now the repairs were the clutch had gone, well the pedal was gone to the floor and he couldn't work out why, and also we discussed previously about sandblasting and painting the frame or the chassis. Now I don't particularly do sandblasting, big jobs like that. I send it to somebody else to do and they do a nice job, but on closer inspection we found there was a few problems. Now we took the engine and gearbox out in one big lump, principally because it was easy, because we knew we had to do the clutch. We had a few oil leaks on the engine to sort out. We had the transfer case was leaking out of its intermediate gear. So we thought we'll pull it all out in one lump, which gave us also access for the guy to do the sandblasting quite good. He can blast all that out quite easily. But Charles is working to a budget and I'm wondering what we can do, because once we've started to pull the gearbox cross member off, we found the frame behind the cross member wasn't very good at all. Let's go and have a look at it. When we took the cross member out, we were in for quite a surprise. The frame at the back was rotten, both sides, this side and that side was both the same. Now the complication with that is I'm going to have to, instead of just putting a patch over, I'm going to have to flush fit a patch, which is a little bit more tricky, but the really difficult part is aligning the holes up so you can get the cross member back in. There is a hole at the bottom there which I can work off, which is pretty good, but there is no tubes in this chassis, so you can't sort of just run a drill through and mark and drill through from the other side, if you see what I mean. Like here, you know, you can't just put a drill through and drill through the plate because there's no tube in it, so you could run off left and right. That's a little problem. Another problem is this. The footwell's rotten. We didn't take this side cover off here with this side piece of insulation. I expect that's rusted out too. I'll get him to take that off this morning. But the idea is we're going to take this down to the sandblaster, and before well, we're going to have to ask him to sandblast it first and then assess it. Now this is a big problem, because if we find more holes in this frame, we're going to have to decide whether it's a replacement frame or repair that one. And the reason is, I'll put a little piece in the video in a little while, is that the rear cross member has just been tacked into place, so we've taken a tank out so I can get back into it, but I've got that to weld up as well. I'm not sure if we can see this very clearly, so I might have to lighten this up. Oh, there we go, and that's better, isn't it? Somebody's welded a new cross member on the back of this, but instead of buying the cross member with the extensions that weld on up here, let's pull back a bit, instead of buying them that goes on up here, they've just bought the replacement cross member. And all they've done is cut the butted off the end of this chassis and put a piece of tubing on here. Well, there's no weld on the inside, there's no reinforcement bits, it's just tacked on. It's not strong at all, so when this comes back from the sandblasters, I'm going to do something with this. Look at this, it's like a pigeon's been here, look. I'm going to dress all this lot up and box it in properly, weld inside there. I can get inside there to weld, and then put a piece in down here and reinforce this, and at the other side here put the reinforcements in. A lot of work. This is going to the sandblasters, it's not looking pretty, but we're going to sandblast this frame first, and then we're going to see if we're going to paint it or salvage it and see what we can do. Now this is finished, we're going to drop this down and have a look at the front, and I'll show you what the front's like. Now let's think about this, because this is, like I say, it's a typical example of your first Land Rover's your worst Land Rover. It's an absolute classic. We discussed it last night, and Charles was quite amicable with this, because I wanted to say that when is a parts car a project car and vice versa, and we're sort of right on the line. we can repair this, but how much is it going to cost? And we are working to a pretty tight budget, and considering we've got the doors to do as well and paint the vehicle, you know, what's behind here? Well, I've got a good idea what's behind here, because this is all bubbled through. Unfortunately, it's been raining, but these are things to look for. Once it starts bubbling, you know that the steel work behind's bad. Just let's have a quick look at this door. This door's toast. It's full of filler and pop rivet plates. I don't think I can do anything with that. I really don't, because I haven't got any section to put into there. I mean, if I did, if I had a spare door, I could probably, thinking about it, cut this piece out and put it into here like a graft, and probably build that up and salvage it. But I just don't know what's behind here. No problem. And they are expensive. He has got new door skins for it, but we've got some repairs to do down here. I'm not really sure how bad that's going to be, but anyway, this is going to be a nightmare as well, cleaning all this lot up. I mean, the sandblaster will find holes that you've never seen before, and the problem is, you see, as I mentioned before, Land Rover frames rust from the inside out. So what else are we going to find? And here's a conundrum. If we have to pay the sandblaster, maybe, I don't know, $500, $1,000, we don't know, we'll have to find out when we go down this morning, just to blast it. And then we find problems, we've just wasted nearly $1,000 on sandblasting. It's a waste of time. It's a tough one, eh? It's a real tough one. I don't know. I really don't know. Again, borderline. We can rebuild anything, but you know, if we're working to a budget, it's tight, and I don't want to spend somebody's money. You know, we've got this to do as well. You know, all this to be repaired. Starting to get holes in here. Starting to get holes here. The other side's quite good. You know, we've got rust starting to come here. One of the things he wanted me to repair was that piece down there. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit. There, you see that bracket? That's got a hole in it. That's not holding anything on. And it's not just a matter of taking the inner wing off and welding a patch on. Well, I've got to align that bracket up to get it right again. So that means putting the wing back on, tacking it up, and then taking it all back off again to just do a patch and then put it back on again. Yeah, it's time. So anyway, listen, I just wanted to show you this project and one of the conundrums we've got. I really don't know. And you see, it's a right-hand drive as well, which isn't the end of the world, but it's, I don't know, not the most sought after of vehicles, but it is original, and that's its selling point. It's original. But 1994 was sort of one of the first years they came out. But look, rust-proof your Land Rover. That's all I can say. Rust-proof it inside and out. Because once that frame's gone, it's a big. The frames aren't all that expensive considering all the work it is. But we're out in Canada, we're 3,000 miles away from where they are, so we've got to ship one across, and then take all the body off and fit it. What else are we going to find? Anyway, this Land Rover is going to get better, one way or the other. But we'll see. We'll see how much it's going to cost. Anyway, we'll talk to you later.